I was watching. Along came Hitler, and he scared me.
Yeah.
To the point where I made my father or mother.
Hollywood icon whose life was a maze of secrets so wild, even his own family couldn't unravel them, until now. What if the man who became a legend as Lawrence of Arabia hid a truth so shocking it could rewrite his legacy? Peter O'Toole, a star born under two names, lived a saga of forbidden love, near-death escapes, and a fortune that sparked betrayal. His daughter Kate just broke her silence, whispering, "Dad's story wasn't what anyone thought." From royal hideaways to a hospital bed where his own child didn't know him, every step teases a twist you won't see coming. Why did he turn down an Oscar? What tore his family apart? Grab a seat. This isn't just a tale of fame. It's a mystery that'll hook you till the final curtain falls. Don't blink. You'll miss the truth. O'Toole's early days were anything but silver screen glamorous. His grandfather, an illegal bookie dodging the law, dragged the family across borders, leaving young Peter's origins a tangle of guesses. Was it the rugged Irish coast or the gritty English north? He didn't care to clarify, but that chaos shaped a man who'd one day command stages and screens. Before the spotlight, he was a scrappy journalist at the Yorkshire Evening Post, snapping photos and scribbling stories, skills that later let him slip into characters like a second skin. Then the Royal Navy snatched him up, and in a quiet moment, an officer asked, "What do you really want?" O'Toole's answer? A poet or an actor. That spark ignited a wild ride. Hitchhiking to London, he stumbled into the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, snagged a scholarship, and joined a class of rebels. Albert Finney, Alan Bates, Brian Bedford, nobodies then, legends later. From there, he stormed the Bristol Old Vic Company, churning out over 20 roles in 3 years, from King Lear's anguish to Henry Higgins' charm. But here's a jaw-dropper. For a tiny part in Major Barbara, he slept rough along the Thames, feeling the cold bite of homelessness to nail the role. Critics raved, and his star began to rise. Hold on to your seats. O'Toole's life offstage was a blockbuster all its own. Whispers of a secret love affair with a royal princess, both tangled in other marriages, set tongues wagging. They'd vanished to private islands, dodging the world's gaze, living a romance ripped from a script. Then came the gut punch. At 43, doctors handed him a 50-50 shot at survival, a health scare so dire his family locked it away for decades. He beat the odds, proving his steel, but that wasn't all. By 1960, he was tearing up the Royal Shakespeare Company, rejecting Hollywood's siren call to master Shylock's fury, Petruchio's wit, and more. That dedication paid off, and soon he was a name synonymous with brilliance. But what about the money, the glitz, the empire he built? Let's dive in, because O'Toole didn't just act, he lived large. Fast forward to today, and O'Toole's legacy sparkles with luxury and savvy. Cars? He rolled in style. Think a sleek Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, a nod to his regal flair, and a zippy Jaguar E-Type that matched his wild spirit. Watches? A Rolex Day-Date gleamed on his wrist, timeless as his performances. Real estate was his playground. He kept a chic Galway retreat near his beloved Omey Island, plus a London pad oozing old-world charm. Private jets? He chartered them for cross-Atlantic dashes, living the jet-set dream. Business-wise, he wasn't just a pretty face. He poured cash into film projects, snagged stakes in theater ventures, and collaborated with heavyweights. Insurance? Smart moves there too. Health policies shielded him after that scare. Asset plans guarded his homes and cars, and career coverage cushioned any flops. Compared to his scrappy start, this was a leap. He'd gone from a bookie's grandson to a financial maestro. Third, embrace the long game. He turned down quick film bucks for stage cred, building a name that paid off big. His spending? Lavish, sure. Cars, jets, homes. But calculated, not reckless. Kate's recent revelations peel back the curtain on a man who balanced chaos with control, mystery with mastery. From a kid with no fixed address to a titan lounging in Galway, O'Toole's journey screams resilience. And here's the kicker. This is only part 1. Next time, we'll dig into his blockbuster highs, crushing lows, and the roles that cemented his myth. Don't blink. You won't want to miss what's coming. Back in the early 60s, O'Toole was no household name, just a scrappy dreamer with a few stage credits. Then came Lawrence of Arabia, a role that almost slipped through his fingers. Director David Lean saw gold in him, but producer Sam Spiegel wasn't sold. Not after O'Toole's cheeky screen test quip about Spiegel's son and a violin. Marlon Brando passed, Albert Finney got a 100,000-pound tryout, but Lean wouldn't budge. O'Toole landed it for a measly 12,500 pounds, less than the supporting cast. Filming was a gauntlet. 18 months in the desert, twisted ankles, torn ligaments, a fractured skull, even a camel bite. One drunken night, he smashed a caravan window, mangling his hand. You can spot the injury in the film if you squint. A crew member warned, "Get sent home and it's over for you." Yet, here's the shocker. He nearly ditched it all for Cleopatra's Mark Antony, opposite Elizabeth Taylor. Choosing Lawrence was his jackpot, his first Oscar nod, and a ticket to stardom. Compared to his journalist days, this was a quantum leap, but the grind left scars. Hold your breath, O'Toole's off-screen antics were pure dynamite. He and co-star Omar Sharif became desert renegades, slipping off to Beirut for wild weekends. Bathtubs brimmed with champagne, and Sharif, still married, later sought a divorce, blaming the chaos. Their wildest night? A pre-premiere bash with comedian Lenny Bruce that landed them in cuffs, drugs were found, and Spiegel sent 6 lawyers to spring them. Kate laughs now, saying, "Dad called it research for living." But the stage called him back. In 1963, at 31, he tackled Hamlet for the National Theatre's debut, directed by Laurence Olivier. A coin toss stole the role from Richard Burton, and O'Toole ignored Olivier's notes, delivering a raw, divisive performance. Some critics sneered, others cheered. Recorded live, it's theater history. From Bristol's sweaty stages to this, he was rewriting the rulebook. Now, let's talk money. Because O'Toole didn't just shine, he stacked serious wealth. His net worth soared from nothing in the 50s to $10 million by the 70s, hitting $50 million at his peak, with projections pegging his estate today near $60 million thanks to residuals and investments. Cars. Beyond the Rolls-Royce and Jaguar, he owned a Mercedes-Benz 600, a dictator's favorite, and a zippy Porsche 911 for countryside spins. Watches? A Patek Philippe Calatrava joined his Rolex, understated but elite. Real estate was his chessboard. His Galway home, bought for $200,000 in the 60s, now sits at $3 million. He snapped up a $5 million Cotswolds estate in the 80s, plus a $2 million Malibu condo for LA stints. Total empire value? Roughly $12 million. Jets? He leased Gulfstreams for premieres, costing $20,000 a pop. Business-wise, he bankrolled indie films, held theater company shares, and inked a $1 million deal with a whiskey brand tied to his Irish roots. Insurance. Health plans saved him post-70s scare, property policies locked in his homes, and career coverage softened box office duds. Unlike his broke early days, he played the game like a king. But wait, O'Toole wasn't just epic dramas. He shocked fans with What's New Pussycat in '65, a zany comedy with Woody Allen's first script. Playing a charming cad, he clashed with Peter Sellers but stole laughs, proving he could pivot from Lawrence's gravitas. Then Lord Jim in Cambodia turned grim. A political mob hit the embassy, forcing him and his wife to hide in a bathroom, snake-infested soup and all. He spilled the tale on The Tonight Show, half laughing, half haunted. Contrast that with How to Steal a Million, where he and Audrey Hepburn sparked magic, their art heist glances iconic. From stage poet to global star, he bent genres like clay. Financially, he learned fast: spread bets, films, real estate, endorsements, and never bank on one hit. His $2 million from Beckett and the Lion in Winter, both Oscar-nominated Henry II roles, padded his empire, showing depth and hustle. O'Toole's life in the late 60s and 70s was a high-wire act. Fresh off Lawrence of Arabia's glory, he was Hollywood's golden rebel, but his wild side nearly stole the show. On the Bible set, he and director John Huston kicked off days with whiskey breakfasts, 6 a.m. pours that left the crew scheduling serious scenes for afternoons. Once during a theater run with Richard Harris, their pub chats halted a play cold until stagehands dragged them back. Kate laughs. He called pubs his second home. But that charm had a cost. In Rome, a photographer caught him with actress Barbara Steele while married. He smashed the camera, leaving the guy needing stitches. Paris wasn't kinder. He flipped a restaurant table over a sneaky snapshot. Studios got creative. On the ruling class in '72, they built him an on-set bar to keep him close. It worked, and he delivered a performance so electric, it nabbed his 4th Oscar nod. From his scrappy Bristol days to this, he was untamed, but unmatched. Here's a twist that'll grab you: O'Toole's heart once tangled with royalty. In the late 60s, whispers linked him to Princess Margaret, both trapped in faltering marriages. He was wed to actress Sian Phillips, she to Lord Snowdon, but their spark was undeniable. They stole away to Mustique's turquoise shores and a tucked-away Moroccan villa, dodging fame's glare. Their bond, born of shared struggles, fizzled by '73 when Margaret's new romance with a younger man hit headlines, sparking a royal uproar. O'Toole, ever private, slipped back to the stage, his Bristol Old Vic roots calling. Kate hints, he never spilled details, but those years changed him. Compared to his Hamlet highs, this was a quieter storm, proving even legends crave escape. Yet, he never let gossip dim his craft. His Henry That Beckett and the Lion in Winter earned Oscar nods, cementing his depth. Now, brace for the gut punch. O'Toole's health took a brutal hit. At 43, doctors warned he might not see 44, suspecting pancreatic trouble. By 1976, surgery stripped away his pancreas and part of his stomach, leaving him diabetic and fragile. Drinking, once his muse, became a deadly foe. Doc said one sip could end him. Then in '78, a rare disorder nearly finished the job. Kate recalls he fought like a lion. Emerging from hospital, he got another blow. His agent had swiped his cash. From a $50 million peak, he scrambled to rebuild. His Galway home, now worth $3 million, and Cotswolds estate, valued at $6 million, stayed safe. But his Malibu condo was sold to plug holes. Cars? He swapped the Porsche for a Bentley Continental Pure Class. Watches? A vintage Omega Seamaster joined his collection, ticking through the chaos. He leased jets less, but a $2 million theater investment and a whiskey endorsement kept cash flowing. Insurance, health, property, career held him steady. Unlike his broke youth, he clawed back smarter. O'Toole's personal life? A maze of missteps. His marriage to Sian Phillips cracked under his absences. Early on, he nudged her to ditch acting after Kate's birth, and his drinking made home tense. She once feared he'd wreck their place. By the mid-70s, he'd bought a Mexico hideaway, living with a younger woman while recovering. Phillips, thriving in I, Claudius, finally broke free post-divorce. Their daughter Kate felt the distance. Born during Lawrence's shoot, she barely saw him until age 2. As a teen, she drifted, saying, "Dad was busy, Mum was gone." A hospital visit hit hard. Her sister, ill, saw O'Toole and asked, "Who's that nice man?" From his radiant pussycat days to this fractured family, he paid a price for fame. Yet, he never stopped creating. The ruling class's wild Jesus Christ role and Man of La Mancha's dual Cervantes. Don Quixote turn showed a soul still burning. His net worth, now projected at $65 million with residuals, reflects a man who rebuilt from ruin. Kate's revelations paint a giant. Flawed, fearless, forever fascinating. But hold tight, this tale's not done. His later years hid comeback dreams and family ties tested by time. Can you guess the role that nearly brought him back to glory? Stick with us. The final act awaits with secrets that'll leave you stunned. O'Toole's later years were a masterclass in defiance. By the 80s, he'd tamed his wild streak, mostly swapping whiskey for lemonade, though pubs remained his church. At 57, he stormed back to the stage in Jeffrey Bernard is Unwell, playing a chaotic journalist with such raw humor that London audiences leapt to their feet. Critics said he lived the role, not acted it. That grit carried into '99, when, at 67, he snagged an Emmy as Bishop Cochon in Joan of Arc. His scheming cleric was no cartoon villain. He gave him soul, stealing scenes in a series stacked with stars. Flashback to his Bristol Old Vic days, churning out Shakespeare. Now he was proving age couldn't dim his fire. But here's a stunner. In 2007, his voice alone brought Pixar's Ratatouille to life as critic Anton Ego. That speech on art's power? Pure O'Toole magic, proving he could rule without a single frame. Now, let's talk heartbeats and headlines, because O'Toole's personal life was a storm. His health battles lingered. Diabetes from his 70s surgery demanded vigilance, and a 2000 scare tightened the screws. Kate recalls he'd joke he was too stubborn to quit. Yet, family ties frayed. His marriage to Cian Phillips was long over, but the fallout with daughter Patricia cut deeper. By 2013, his will stunned everyone. Patricia got nothing from his $6 million estate, with O'Toole citing years of estrangement. Kate inherited his Irish haven, son Lorcan a hefty sum. Even his assistant scored big. But Patricia's silence screamed pain. Compared to his Lawrence days, when he barely knew baby Kate, he'd tried mending bonds. Grandkids got trust, but some rifts stayed raw. His archive, sent to Texas in 2017, holds clues. Diaries, scripts, sketches, maybe answers. Why the divide? That's the question haunting fans. Money? O'Toole played it like chess. His net worth climbed from $2 million in the 60s to $50 million at its peak, settling at $30 million by 2013, projected now at $70 million with royalties. Real estate was his anchor. The $3 million Galway home, a $7 million London townhouse bought in the 90s, and a $4 million Tuscany villa. Total value, $14 million. Cars? He traded the Bentley for a Lexus LS, sleek but practical, and kept a vintage Aston Martin DB5 for nostalgia. Watches? A Cartier tank joined his Omega, flashing elegance. Jets? He ditched leasing for first-class flights, saving cash. Investments? He doubled down on theater stakes, bankrolled a $3 million Irish distillery, and held a $1 million deal with a memoir publisher. Never finished, sadly. Insurance, health, property, legacy trusts kept his empire tight. Unlike his broke youth, he'd learned diversify, protect, endure. That Malibu sale in the 80s? A $2 million lesson in cutting losses. But here's the kicker. O'Toole chased one prize that never came. 8 Oscar nods, from Lawrence in '62 to Venus in 2006, and no win. His Henry Sadwin Beckett and The Lion in Winter? Masterpieces, yet empty-handed. In 2002, the Academy offered an honorary Oscar. He balked, saying, "I'm still playing." Kids nudged him to take it, and in 2003, Meryl Streep handed him the statuette. He quipped, "Biggest loser in history," but that grin hid hunger. Venus at 74 was his swan song, an aging actor, tender and raw, earning raves. From his Hamlet gamble to this, he never stopped betting on himself. Kate says he'd have traded it all for one real win. That hunger drove roles like The Last Emperor's Quiet Tutor in '87, a film that swept awards while he soaked up praise. So, what's O'Toole's final lesson? Live boldly, but anchor smart. His homes and trusts outlasted chaos. Pivot fast, he jumped from epics to cartoons, always fresh. And chased dreams even if they slip. Those Oscars didn't define him, his craft did. His estate grows, his archive speaks. But Kate's revelations, family pain, unspoken loves, add layers. From a kid with 2 birth certificates to a voice that shook Pixar, O'Toole was chaos and class entwined. Want to know the secret he took to the stars? His life was the role he never rehearsed, and we're still applauding.